Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Scially Stats YouTube channel. This is part two of my two-part video on SOAPS predictions. Again, if you didn't watch part one, go watch that. Um, so just to recap, SOAPS is a fairly competitive science Olympiad tournament coming up this weekend. That's going to tell me a lot about Pennsylvania Science Olympiad rankings, as well as uh, the placings of Carmel and Mason, respectively. So in the last video, I went over all of these teams, which are competitive, and I talked about how I ranked the four most competitive teams and Thomas Jefferson as well. So if you want more on that, go watch my last video. But in this video, I want to focus on the individual events. So I was originally planning on doing this not in two parts, just as a one-part thing. But then my recording software is I have the free version, of course, because I'm broke and can't afford the the premium or whatever. But the downside of that is I only have 30 minutes of recording time. So my last video, if I were to make this all one video, it would have gone over. So I just decided to split it up in two parts. The last video cut really weirdly towards the end when I tried to, because I started going over these and then I realized I didn't have enough time, so I just cut that part out. But it cut really weirdly, so I apologize for that. But anyway, just so making sure we don't run out of time in this video, let's get to this. So I'm going to go over quickly how I did this and how this works with the first event here, air trajectory. So basically how I got these rankings, and again, if you didn't see the last video, these rankings are not how I expect these teams to actually rank in the tournament. These rankings are my predicted rankings when you exclude all of the teams that are not Mason, Cumberland Valley, Lower Marion, and Carmel. So these are just ranking these teams in comparison to each other, not in comparison to the other teams. I expect a lot of these rankings to decrease when you incorporate other teams into it, because as I explained in the last video, these schools, the less competitive schools, often sink all their resources into a couple events and then end up doing really well in those events, but then they bomb everything else. But those events that they do really well in, they place really high in, and steal a first place from Mason or Cumberland Valley or Lower Marion. So and that decreases increases the team score, which of course in Science Olympiad is worse than a lower team score. So anyway, again, I want to make sure I don't run out of time, so I need to get into this. So air trajectory. With this first event, like I said, I'm going to go over how I did these rankings. So basically what I did to get these is I went over here and I searched the team that I wanted to know how they're doing in this event. So Mason, for example. If we look here, Mason attended 2 tournaments so far, Northview and Raymond Park. In air trajectory at Raymond Park, they did exceptionally well. However, Raymond Park was not a very competitive invitational. The only competitive team there was Mason. Carmel was there too, but they're honestly not even first in Indiana. I forget if Indiana takes 2 teams or 1. I think it's just 1. Yeah, it's just 1. So right now, Carmel's not even in first in Indiana, but that's besides the point. I'm getting sidetracked again. Mason. That's not Mason's team. I don't know why I had that copied. Mason. So, yeah, Raymond Park. Mason did pretty well in air trajectory. Again, not a very competitive invitational, so it's not weighted too heavily in my decision here. What is weighted in my decision, however, more heavily, is Northview. Here, Mason didn't do that great in air trajectory, honestly. They got beat out by both of Solon's teams. However, if you look at this tournament is really important in this case because it tells us how Mason compares to Carmel in certain events. And in air trajectory, Mason is significantly better than Carmel. So I gave them the win over Carmel. Cumberland Valley and Lower Merion were easy to compare because they competed against each other not too long ago at Dick Smith. These teams were both unstacked, so I took the best rankings of each. You can see neither of these teams is very good at air trajectory. Lower Merion's slightly better, so I gave them the slight edge over Cumberland Valley. Then when it came time to compare these two groups, Cumberland Valley, Lower Merion, and Mason and Carmel, that was a little tougher. So I just kind of had to extrapolate results and look at how teams did in other tournaments. So Cumberland Valley, for example, in air trajectory, they did pretty well at Dick Smith. However, because we know that Lower Merion can beat CV in air trajectory, I gave them the edge. And Mason, again, looking at this, they seem pretty good here. Not too great down here. Okay, I mean, it's fine. Not the best, though. But I think out of these teams, none of these teams are very good at air trajectory. So I put Mason in. I'm going to give this event to Mason, with Lower Merion coming in second, Carmel third, Cumberland Valley fourth in this event. That's basically how I did it. Now, let's go through these events one by one, and I'll give you the quick rundown of the results here. So, anatomy. Let's just start with Mason here. Yeah, I mean, anatomy, Mason, extremely good. Northview, they got first, beating out Solon, which is really notable. However, you'll notice that I didn't give them the win. They got second. I'm going to give this event to Carmel because Carmel beat Mason, beat all of Mason's teams in anatomy at Raymond Park. So we know that, at least as of now, again, SOAPS can change things, of course. That's the whole point of invitationals. But looking at the previous data, Carmel looks to be better at anatomy than Mason. And Mason was already really good at anatomy. So these two teams are excellent at anatomy. Carmel, though, I expect to take this event. Then if we look at Cumberland, and because Mason beat Solon in anatomy, I gave those two teams the edge over Cumberland Valley and Lower Merion. Looking at CV and Lower Merion, why is this not working? There we go. I don't know why it wasn't. Whatever. Anatomy, right. So looking at CV and Lower Merion, CV looks to be better than Lower Merion, so I gave them the edge. CV takes third, Lower Merion takes fourth. Astronomy. I'm going to give this event to CV. If you look, astronomy, very good. Unstacked, they got second and fifth, pretty good. And they definitely beat Lower Merion there. And then if you look at Dick Smith, again, pretty decent. Fourth and seventh unstacked is not bad. If we look at how Mason does in astronomy, you can see they got first at Raymond Park, beating out Carmel. That's really all that tells us, because again, this tournament wasn't super competitive, apart from Mason being there. And then if you look here, getting beat out by Solon, not too notable, but nothing really tells me that they're that amazing at astronomy. So I give Cumberland definitely better than Lower Merion and Carmel. Lower Merion, I think, did not do that great in this event here. They got 12th and 4th. That's fine. But I give astronomy to Cumberland Valley. Chemistry lab, or chem lab if you're a normie. Again, this is one of these events that no team is really that great at. By the way, astronomy, I didn't talk about this. I italicized this. I italicized a couple other events, as well as these two team names. And the reason I did that is because I'm not as confident in this ranking as I am with some others. Astronomy, you could see that I think it's going to be a little close between Mason and CV. Both these teams are pretty good at this event, so that could really go either way. I'm pretty sure that Carmel will fall short of all of those teams, though. that's why I gave it to I gave these two teams the top spot. Anyway, oh, and this as well. This I could see this going either way. When you add up all these scores, CV beats Lower Marion. That's what I am predicting, but I could see this going either way. Why is Discord still going off? I closed out of it. It's really distracting. Um, if I mute my sound, hopefully that doesn't mute my audio. I don't think it will, but if it does, I'm going to be really annoyed. Anyway, um, let's move on to Chem Lab. Again, I don't want to run out of time here. So Chem Lab. So neither Cumberland Valley nor Lower Marion is very good at that. These scores make that pretty clear. So I gave them third and fourth here, and then Carmel and Mason. If you look at Mason, um, again, not great. Not great across the board here. Let's see how they did here. Okay, so they did beat one of Solon's teams in Chem Lab, which is very notable. So that's why I gave them the edge over Carmel. But again, none of these teams really are that great. And honestly, looking at this again, um, Carmel kind of completely bombed Chem Lab here. So they might honestly be lower than CV and Lower Marion. We'll keep it this way for now. I will italicize this, though, because that's another event that I'm just not really sure about. Code, another event that I'm not sure about. This one for the opposite reason, though, as Chem Lab. All of these teams seem at least pretty good to really good at code. So if we look at the rankings here, Mason third, second, and first here at Raymond Park. So to really understand how they are at code, you have to look at this. Third and fourth, pretty good. Unstacked, they beat one of Solon's teams. The other Solon team beat them, but that's still decently notable. And then if you look at Cumberland Valley in code, pretty decent at Dick Smith, unstacked, and then again, really good at Battle at Valley Forge, second and fifth, unstacked. That's pretty good, and especially at this fairly competitive tournament. And then Lower Marion, pretty decent, not as good as CV though. So I gave CV the edge here, and Lower Marion not too pretty far behind there. But this between Mason and CV, this could be close because, like I said, Mason actually beat one of Solon's teams in code, which is very notable. So keep an eye on that event at the actual tournament. Detector building. So this is one of Cumberland Valley's best events, I think. They got first and third unstacked at Battle at Valley Forge, which is incredible. Again, this year with all these competitive teams getting third and first is amazing. Obviously, they beat out Lower Marion there. If you look at Mason compared to Carmel here, all of their teams beat Carmel in this event, so that's not really a competition. And then here, not that great, honestly, at Northview. Solon doing pretty significantly. Well, I shouldn't say significantly better. Solon did pretty good, but not a super great showing for Mason there. So I think I'd give. Oh, I think actually in this event, there's this tournament that Lower Marion attended. Getting eighth here, they were unstacked. So if they had a pretty high ranking in anything like disease detectives, I think I ranked them pretty high in disease. Yeah, second. We'll get to this in 1 second. But if they ranked high in this tournament, I gave them a high placing in the SOAPS predictions. Disease. Another one that I'm giving to CV and another one that I'm not too sure about. The reason I'm giving this to CV is because Lower Marion got second in this tournament, unstacked, which, I mean, that seems really good, right? And it is really good. But then you look up here. Where is Disease Detectives? There it is. Look at that. CV beats Lower Marion in disease. I mean, and this score isn't even that amazing, but yeah, I mean, beating Lower Marion in disease there, pretty notable considering they got second in it at a pretty competitive tournament. So if we look at Mason here, in disease, not quite great this tournament here. Again, not very competitive. They did beat Carmel though, so I gave them the edge there. When you compare them to Solon here, yeah, that's not very good. So I put them ahead of Carmel, and I put CV in first and Lower Merion in second. So I think that event goes to CV. Dynamic Planet. So Mason getting second here, beating both of Solon's teams. Solon did not do very well in this event. I'll look out for that once their tournament comes up and MIT comes up. I think they're going to MIT. But back to this. Mason getting second, beating Solon. Amazing. I'll give them this event for that. Put Cumberland Valley in second here because, again, I think this is probably one of their more consistent events. Getting third and sixth here at Dick Smith, decently competitive. And fourth here, again, unstacked, 11th and fourth. Pretty decent fourth place. They beat Lower Merion there. So I give them the edge over Lower Merion. And then Carmel, yeah, getting beat out by Mason here pretty badly. Ecology. So if we look at ecology here, let's look at this tournament first. Mason beats Carmel. No super big surprise there. If we look at Mason's other tournament in Eco, getting second, really good, beating both of Solon's teams, pretty amazing. If we look at how Cumberland Valley and Lower Merion are doing in this event, Cumberland Valley, not the best placing at Dick Smith, and again, a pretty bad showing at Battle at Valley Forge as well. Lower Merion, not too much better, but they did end up beating CV here. So I gave them the edge there and the edge over Carmel because Carmel really did not do well in this event at Raymond Park either. But yeah, Mason definitely, I think, takes this event. XD. So another one I'm giving to Mason. Getting first and second here at this, beating Carmel. Again, not really a big surprise. Northview, this is where we really start comparing things. Getting fifth here, pretty decent. Beat one of Solon's teams, that's good. The other Solon team beat them, but that's okay. And then if we look at Cumberland Valley in XD, pretty good, actually really good at Dick Smith. Third place is very good there. And fifth, unstacked, not bad. Lower Merion, though, look at this. Beating CV, getting first here. The only reason I did not put them ahead of Mason is because, again, Mason here. Actually, you know what? I probably should put them ahead of Mason. All right, I'm changing this one. So Mason, I'm going to give XD to Lower Merion. Lower Merion is exceptionally good at XD this year. Fermi questions. How many more events do we have? We are not halfway through. We're running out of time here. We got to speed things up. Fermi questions. I speak too much. That's the problem. So Mason, fourth, beating Solon beat them. One of Solon's teams bombed this event, actually. That's interesting. But fourth, pretty decent. And if we look at Carmel here in Fermi questions, pretty not great. Looking at Cumberland Valley here, fourth, pretty good, and first. So amazing. That's why I'm going to give this event to Cumberland Valley, Mason in second, Lower Merion third, Carmel fourth. Flight. Given this event to Mason, if we look at the ranking so far here, Flight is here. Again, first, second at a not super competitive invitational, not the best indicator. Not really a great showing here either. This, I think, was another event that none of these teams were really that great at. So this is an excellent event for like Ruston to come in and beat again. So Mason beat Carmel here. For like Ruston to come in and take the victory in the event. not the best showing at Dick Smith for CV. And then here, I mean, I wouldn't say completely bombing, but certainly very close to bombing. Um, and then Lower Marion, pretty decent here. In fact, I think I'd give them the edge over Carmel. Uh, just making sure that is Lower Marion. Yes, that is. So yeah, forestry. So um, if we look at the forestry rankings, Cumberland Valley, not the greatest showing at Battle here. And then if we go to Dick Smith, a little bit better. But if we go back to Battle, Lower Marion getting second in forestry, pretty good. So they definitely beat CV here. And then if we look at the Mason and Carmel matchup, Mason absolutely crushes Carmel. Oh, that's fossils. They still crush Carmel in this event. But given that CV is not that great, doesn't seem that great at this event this year, I'm going to give this one to Mason with Lower Marion in second. Fossils. So Mason beats Carmel. And Cumberland Valley, pretty decent at Dick Smith. And it's a little bit better than forestry. Still not the best showing at Battle. Lower Marion, both of Lower Marion's teams beat CV here. That's why I gave them the edge. I did give CV the edge over Mason and Carmel, though, because I believe, yes, Mason did not do very well in this event at all at Northview. So, and we know they're better than Carmel, so that's why I gave them the edge there. But yes, Fossils goes to Lower Marion. Geo mapping. So this is one of the few events that Carmel is actually very good at this year. Geo mapping, they beat out all of Mason's teams. They got first here. Very notable. That's why I give this event to them. Geo mapping, Mason, I put them in seconds if we look at their rankings here. Not terrible. Not bad. Beat one of Solon's teams. The other Solon team beat them. Same old, same old. And if we look at Cumberland Valley in geomapping, pretty good at Dick Smith. Even better probably at Battle here, beating out Lower Marion. So that's why I gave them the edge there, but this event definitely goes to Carmel. Micro Mission, I think we are nearing the end, so we should be able to have enough time here. That was definitely a grammatically correct sentence. All right, Micro Mission. So CV beating out Lower Marion here at Battle, so I'll give them the edge over Lower Marion there. If we check here, again, very good. One of CV's more consistent events this year. Pretty good showing so far. If we look at Mason and Micro Mission, whoops. And again, this is one of the events that Carmel is very good at. They beat out all of Mason's teams. That's why I gave them the edge at SOAPS here. Micro Mission, again, Mason's not bad, though. Beat out one of Solon's teams here. So this is probably one of the events that all of these teams are pretty good at. I gave Carmel the edge with CV right behind. Optics. So we look, I already have Mason up here. So this is Optics. You can see 3rd and 7th beat out one of Solon's teams. Pretty similar story here. Crushed Carmel and got 1st and 2nd there. If we look at Cumberland Valley in Optics, pretty good. Again, this is probably one of their better events this year, I think. Beat out both of Lower Marion's teams. But I do give this one to Mason with their strong showing against Solon and CV in 2nd place. Robot Tour. So this is a really weird one. This is probably the event that more than anything, I don't really know if any team has quite figured out Robot Tour yet. I've heard rumors that some teams are getting really good scores. I haven't really seen that yet. But I think that this event is kind of a wild card, kind of like another event that's coming up here. I'll see maybe here. Maybe here's a good spot for this thing. Kind of like another event that's coming up soon here. We'll get to that in a second, though. So Robot Tour. Let's look at this. So start with Cumberland Valley in Robot Tour. Very good at Dick Smith. Actually, really good. Amazing at Dick Smith. Not very good at Battle, though. Lower Marion beat out CV here. And that's the more recent one. So I gave Lower Marion the edge. CV not bad at this event, though. Carmel, if we look at whatever that tournament is, Raymond Park here, not great. Mason beats them. Same old story. So I give the event to Lower Marion, though, with Mason in second, CV third, Carmel fourth. But again, this is one of the events that could really go any which way. I don't really see Carmel beating like Lower Marion, though. But other than that, this could, between these three, this could pretty much go this way. Anyway, Scrambler. So again, another italicized event, one that I'm not super confident in. But if we look at the results here, Mason beating Carmel, not a great showing, though, honestly. If we look at Mason's other ranking in this event, I think it's here. Again, not very good. Solon absolutely crushing this event, though. And if we look at like Cumberland Valley in Scrambler, sorry, everything's like blocking my view here. Pretty good at Dick Smith, if I remember correctly. Yeah, not very good at Battle. So I'd give. I do give Cumberland Valley the edge here because of their showing at Dick Smith. And Lower Marion actually scratched. So that's actually why I have this italicized, because Lower Marion scratched in this event here, and we don't really have. What? Oh, because wait. I'm so confused. I have another data point for Lower Marion. Yeah, here. Weird. I gotta hurry. I am running a little short on time. I don't really have any good data for Lower Marion in this event. These two teams scratched. This one didn't do that great, so I don't know. That Lower Marion is definitely the wild card here, but right now I'll give that to CV. What is this event? I can't even see. Everything's in the way. Tower. So I'll see if I can keep my thing down here and if that'll be good. So Tower, let's start with Mason, I guess. In Tower, not great actually here. They did beat Carmel, only by a little though. And then if we look at their other performance here, again, not too great here. Solon crushing this event as always. So I'd give Lower Marion and CV the edge there. Between these two teams, Lower Marion, if we look here at our direct comparison, they did beat CV in this event, so I'd give them the edge at SOAPS. And then we have, that is so annoying how that keeps happening. Wind Power. So Mason, that's not what I wanted to do. Mason in Wind Power. Beating Carmel. Carmel, not bad, though. So over here, not a super great showing in Wind Power. So that is why I'd give this one to Lower Marion and Cumberland Valley. Lower Marion, again, I'm pretty sure they beat CV in this event at they didn't actually. Wait. This should be reversed. Sorry. CV takes this one, Lower Marion in second. All right. Whoops, that's the wrong one. So yeah, okay, never mind. Forget what I just said. We're running out of time though. We got to hurry. Whitty, the last event, real quickly. Whitty is very much a wild card. A lot of good teams are not very good at this event. So yeah, you can see I gave Lower Marion a slight edge over CV there. Mason though, Mason, come on, there we go. Mason, not doing that great at this tournament, and then again, not very good here. So I gave them the edge though. But I really need to wrap this video up. I have like 15 seconds left. So that's my prediction for SOAPS. Mason in first, CV second, Lower Marion third, Carmel fourth. You can see the end here. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Bye.